So we're recording part one of the Ustream session, the live session, the Ultrabook webcast from ultrabooknews.com. My name's Chippy. This section will be basically a mini podcast. I've got a special guest coming in, which I hope is going to work. We're going to pull him in over Skype. He's in Texas, Austin, Texas. We're going to chat for 10-15 minutes about the Ultrabook segment, talk about various things, the status of the market, pricing, Ultrathins. Patrick Moorehead is an ex-AMD VP for strategy. He now runs a consulting company for analyzing and doing strategy for the new mobile segments, not just including Ultrabooks, but also tablets as well. And it will be interesting to talk to him. Before I start, though, if you're watching this on YouTube, give us a +1 or a like or whatever you can do with your social networks. It helps us keep going. Sorry for the quality. It's a live recording of an analog stream that goes out. We're doing everything here for free. The more you support us, the closer we get to going digital. That's how far behind I am. All right, let's see if we can get Patrick in and see if we can have a little chat about Ultrabooks. He's out in Austin, Texas, and I'm pretty sure he's ready. Guys in the chat session, if you hear audio issues, let me know. I'll try and monitor things up. Patrick, hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Steve?
Great, thank you. It's good to talk to you again. I haven't seen you in person for a couple of years. I think last time was probably South by Southwest, maybe, or maybe somewhere in the Intel IDF show a year ago. I don't know.
I know. We end up being at the same shows either in person, but it's funny with social media now. I feel like I get a dose of Chippy every day. Oh,
is that good or bad? Maybe I should apologize for that.
No, that's good.
So, Patrick, tell us what you're doing now. You used to be doing strategic analysis for AMD, but now you're running your own consultancy company, right?
Yes, essentially what I do is I'm an industry analyst, and that's not to be confused with financial analyst. What I do is look broadly at all the competitors in the entire ecosystem and give people opinions on what I think is going to happen. And I work with chip companies, smartphone, tablet, and Ultrabook and notebook desktop companies to help them out on a few things.
Right. You've been following Ultrabooks pretty closely, though, right? I've seen a lot of commentary from you in publications and on the media in the last few months. So is this one of your focus areas right now, or is this just an area you think is important?
No, Ultrabooks is actually a focus area primarily because of the impact it's going to have on the entire PC market. Because if you think about it, Ultrabooks really are going to be a big decider on the future of PCs. And will people spend $600, $700 on a tablet, or will they spend that money on an Ultrabook?
Yeah, that's a good question. We'll come to pricing in a bit, but let's just talk about this week. It's been quite a busy week in Ultrabooks. We've had HP launching a big stack of Ultrabooks, and what's happening is we're getting the ramp up to second generation Ultrabooks, right? Computex is the likely place where Intel will launch second generation, and that's June the 5th. And so I guess we're seeing leaks and launches up to that. How important do you think this second generation is? As prices drop on first generation, I'm seeing a lot of people getting more interested in the first generation simply because of the pricing. So if second generation comes up and the pricing steps up again with second generation, do you think there's a risk it could slow things down?
Well, I think the entire industry knows that to get deeper penetration for Ultrabooks, the pricing has to come down. So right now, as you know, the average price in U.S. dollars is around $999. But to start to get real traction, it really needs to get down to $699. And I do believe that is going to happen. I do believe that that's what Intel wants to happen. In fact, I was listening to their Financial Analyst Day yesterday, and they used the word $699. Now, $699 won't have a full SSD or be a forged aluminum, it will be typically plastic or carbon fiber, and probably a hybrid hard drive.
Right. The $699 figure has come up occasionally. Actually, we've seen some offers now at $699. I know. What was it, last week there was a Toshiba and a Samsung at $699 for a short time on Amazon, so the prices are coming down pretty quickly, and certainly in Europe as well we've seen price drops of around 25% now, which is quite significant. We're well below the €1,000 mark, which is, you can often equate dollars to euros when we talk about our prices, because our prices include sales tax, so that they're already hitting. What I'm worried about is that when second generation launches, that's going to introduce a step up in pricing, clearly, because Samsung will probably want to leave first generation in the market, and then when they introduce second generation, it's going to raise the prices. Do you think that's going to be a problem for the media? They're going to see price rises and report those price rises, and it's going to scare customers?
I don't think it's an issue. In fact, I think in the long term, it's a good thing that low prices in Ultrabooks aren't synonymous. I think what the press will look at is if they do see somebody like an HP come out with a not at a discount or a blowout pricing, but initial pricing. For instance, HP announced a line yesterday that was at $799 for an Ultrabook. That's a starting price. I really think that's what the press will focus on.
Right.
I think it's actually a good thing for Ultrabooks if they are adding more features and more value to scale up. So, for instance, high definition screens, as an example, larger SSD capacities. I think that things that people are willing to pay for is evidenced by the Mac Air.
Right. Actually, that's an important thing to talk about. Features. One of the big features that Intel has really been playing up is touch, right? And they've been telling us at press events that they've been doing their research, and their research shows that users are not only excited about touch, but are using touch in their tests. I'm a little bit worried about this focus on touch, because I'm having used touch for many years on laptops. I know I personally have used it a fair bit, but it's been not something that's been critical to my use of it, or it would never be critical to my purchase of a laptop. Do you think this really is going to be important, touch for Ultrabooks?
Yeah, I believe that touch for Ultrabooks will be important in those convertible form factors, but not necessarily in a traditional clamshell. I do see over time, it's interesting, as I start to use a lot of tablets. In fact, it's my primary travel device. And when I'm on my Ultrabook, I many times want to touch the screen.
Yeah.
And I think with Windows 8, it's going to make a lot more sense. I used a lot of the same touch screen Windows 7, Windows XP laptops that you probably used, and they were pretty horrible when you think about it. They were resistive touch. They worked with pen only. There weren't a lot of apps. One thing manufacturers have to do if they're going to put a clamshell out with touch and expect people to pay the extra $100 or so for it is to make sure the screen doesn't bend back. There needs to be enough weight so when you do touch the screen, let's say when you're in Windows 8 using Metro, that the screen doesn't move back, because that will keep people from using it, and will end up backfiring as a strategy, because people won't be willing to pay the extra money for it. That's
interesting, because actually that's a very, very difficult technical challenge as the Ultrabooks get lighter. How do you stop an 800 gram or that 1.5 pound device from tipping back when you touch it? It's going to get harder, that technical challenge.
It is now. For instance, on the XPS 13, you might notice they actually bonded the display to the aluminum, actually taking even more weight out of the display. I think the key here comes in, excuse me for getting down into the nitty gritty here, but the actual torsion of the hinge. I do believe that even on an XPS 13, if it did have a touch display, you could touch it many times without it tipping over.
Yeah, I'm just testing that now as you do it.
I can use my XPS 13 rail.
Patrick, I'm just going to ask you to turn your video off because we're getting some dropouts here, and might be bandwidth issues. So you can just drop out the video. We'll just stick to audio only. So second thing I wanted to talk about is oh, you're feeding back now as well on the channel. Okay, let me carry on. Oh, I'm getting some echo on you. Maybe you switched to a different mic or different speakers.
Same. I just turned off the video.
Okay. Got big echo coming back in my headphones. Maybe switch the video back on. We'll do it that way. I'm still getting feedback. Okay. Listen, do you think Windows 8 is going to also help Ultrabooks, not just in the area of touch, or do you think that it's actually going to make it a little bit more confusing with this dual mode of usage?
I think that Windows 8 is going to give a lift to Ultrabooks just because it's part of the phenomena of being something new. People are going to hear about Windows 8, and I actually think that more people will be looking to buy a PC with Windows 8, and all the waters will rise, and Ultrabooks will rise with it.
Yeah, and it's all about marketing, right? It's all about combining these launches with some good marketing. Could make it attractive enough. It's not. The trouble is with Microsoft and Intel, it's up to their customers how they do their marketing. It'll be very difficult for them to pull it all together, whereas Apple have one single message to put out. If multiple messages
there will be a lot of things going on at the same time out in the channel. If you not only do you have Windows 8, you have Windows RT and a new element of ARM-based processors that the market hasn't dealt with yet on a large form factor Windows form factor.
Yeah. I read a nice article about you were listening to Ottolini at the analyst call yesterday, right? Ottolini was saying that ARM-based Windows devices will have problems with software, legacy software not working, etc., etc. I mean, I tend to agree with that. It's a real problem.
Well, it actually is a fact. He wasn't stretching.
Yeah.
It is a fact that Windows RT based systems will not be able to run the older legacy software. Now, on the flip side, I do believe that Windows RT devices will deliver a consistent experience, and their success initially could be predicated on the number of Metro apps that are available at launch.
Yeah, I think that's critical. The number of Metro apps and the quality of the Metro apps. If there are a bunch of Metro apps out there that just are poor quality, and they need to be using leading edge ISVs, that are doing great things on the iOS and Android ecosystem. And if for example, if Instagram isn't there on day one, it's going to be a problem for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, it is, and my concern is starting to grow a little bit because it's been over 6 months since the Build conference in September, where the development kit was rolled out, and there's still only around 100 applications on the Windows 8 store. Now, they haven't opened it up to everybody, but there is only, I would say, 5 months left before Windows RT and Windows 8 are going to be launching.
Yeah, and if you're an ISV and you're working out your business plan for the next 6 months, there's no figures that you can work on with Windows 8 RT to allow you to make a business plan for doing this sort of stuff. It's a real risk area if you're going to put effort into making Metro apps.
Well, it's interesting. If you write in the WinRT development plan, if you win for WinRT, not the operating system, but the development kit, you will be on Windows 8 for x86 and Windows RT. And it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that in consumer, after October, it will be nearly impossible to buy a PC without Windows on it, Windows 8.
Right. Yeah, they're all going to be Windows 8. I
don't see it as too big of a risk for them to write to it, because everybody is going to get the application. I think the biggest potential risk there is users just clicking straight to the desktop if they have a clamshell form factor.
Yeah. I think that's the risk. It's although you can guarantee there's going to be a lot of potential users out there, so the distribution will be wide. But are they going to use your app? And if you're relying on monetization of an app, then that could be an issue. Let's bring it back to Ultrabooks just quickly. We'll do another 5 minutes if you've got time, Patrick.
Sure.
How is the media reacting, do you think? It's always fun for me to watch the articles rolling through from CNET and others, and there's always an element of MacBook Air in the articles somewhere. I often feel it's keyword stuffing, but then maybe I've been blogging too long. But how do you think the media are reacting now? Generally, I feel it's pretty good, and generally I feel the fact that they're writing about it, even if it's good or bad, is good. There's a lot of coverage.
Yeah, there is a tremendous amount of coverage because there are so many elements of it to talk about. I wouldn't say it's interesting. I see waves of positive and some waves of negative, and the negative isn't too much other than price, and price isn't always a bad thing if you can create a good brand. And I think Intel's really smart in the way that they rolled this out. Now they have to go for volume. Intel's goal that they stated almost a year ago at Computex was that by the end of this year, 40% of all consumer notebooks would be Ultrabooks. Yeah. And so the prices will have to come down for that to happen, because I don't believe that there will be a huge amount of people who will actually buy up or spend more than they were intending. I don't believe yet that there's that much value that's been created. But back to your question, I think people are really excited about this for a lot of reasons. I'm excited about it for the market primarily because it really is one of the few times in the last few years I've seen where a lot of really good innovation is coming out. The XPS 13 that I have is an example. I mean, I have a lot of Macs in my house, and I have to tell you, I don't want to put the XPS 13 down. It's my primary notebook PC, and it's really convenient and very powerful, and I think a lot of people are going to use it and get excited about it too.
It looks good as well. My wife is using a Samsung Series 5, which is not an SSD-based device, but she's pretty amazed at how quick the device is available from lifting the lid. That is one of the things that you can never move away from once you've had, right? There's a lot of lock-in elements with Ultrabook. The style is one of them, the weight, but this quick access, lift the lid and it's available within 3 or 4 seconds, I think is one of the most significant lock-in elements of Ultrabooks. And once people start to see them out in the street, I've been showing people mine and they're like, wow, it's light and it's beautiful. But then when I switch it on and say that I've never actually used the power button, they're pretty impressed, So yeah, I think all that excitement combined with a bit of marketing, and let's face it, Intel are going to put a couple of 100 million, no, more than that, right? No, a couple of 100 million is the current marketing campaign, plus all their other stuff that's around. For example, the App Hub, they've got a lot of money in there, and the 300 million Intel Capital Fund. There's a $500 million there.
Right. They're serious about this, about making PCs cool again. Yeah. And I do believe that they have a good shot at doing this. All
right. Well, last question. Ultrathins then. Do you think they're going to help or hinder the market for consumers? Not help or hinder Intel, but help or hinder the market in general.
I think Ultrathins and HP just launched a line that they called Sleek Books.
Yep.
It may confuse at first, but I think when people walk in the store, they're going to see very thin, very light devices with good battery life. And I think competition is good for the market. I really do. What I'm expecting in Ultrathins is maybe not as much CPU performance, but really good GPU performance and really good battery life.
Yep. I'm not expecting the highest quality build in terms of components or materials either, but you're going to what it looks like is you're going to get maybe 20% lower prices than Ultrabooks.
Yeah, and I actually want to see one and touch one. I've seen some prototypes before, and they look pretty good. But I really want to get my hand on a production version to do is just what you said. Look at the build quality, look at the SSD or hybrid performance, and also battery life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to testing the Trinity platform. It's going to be exciting. One question then from a reader, and then we'll close it down. Kman101 says, how do tablets stack up against Ultrabooks now? How do you think that's going to pan out in the next few years? Do you think they're going to, I'll add to that, do you think they're going to sit side by side, or do you think they're going to sit, they're going to cross over and merge?
So, first of all, I see that there's being multiple tablet markets. There's a full-featured tablet market like the iPad, and then there's the Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and then there's even a third-tier resistive screens, $100 market. I think that the full, I think that an Ultrabook tied-in convertible that's around 15 millimeters thick, able to convert, does have a chance of cannibalizing a high-end tablet. People are willing to spend $700, $900, $799, $899 for a tablet. I do believe that if you can get to a thin Ultrabook, people will opt to buy that instead of tablets. But this is a market of ands and not ors. Okay, so it's not like I would see tablets going away or convertibles going away. There are going to be people who want both. There is a group, a very large group of people who just can't afford a PC and a tablet and a smartphone. So what they're going to do is that they want the sexiness of touch. They do want to kick back on their couch and use touchscreen, and they'll want a clamshell when they want to sit at a table. And I think that they'll opt for an Ultrabook with touch, a convertible.
Not a Transformer Prime.
Well, the Transformer Prime is a very hot product, and I can imagine Windows 8 on one of those would be pretty compelling.
Yeah. I think there's something there for Windows 8 RT on a Transformer Prime style of device with a detachable keyboard. As long as it brings you that battery life that the Prime is famed for, it could really, really, really challenge it.
Yeah, definitely. I have a Prime. I have a Prime today, and my only complaint on it is the operating system.
Well, I've been testing those smart books, and I'm still a fan of smart books. I still think it could happen, but it needs Google to put some more effort into the OS and into some of their apps. But I still think that could happen, and it will challenge Windows 8 RT. I think in the next years.
I do, and especially if you had a Transformer Prime with WinRT. It has the Office applications when you're doing clamshell mode, and then you have Metro when it's in tablet mode. I think there could be something there.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, Patrick, I could speak to you for hours about this, but we're going to have to get on with the review we're going to do tonight. So for people that are listening, Patrick is at moreinsightstrategy.com. That's a nice, easy-to-use domain name. You got there, Patrick. Can you not get something else shortened there? Anyway, moreinsightstrategy.com is where Patrick. But you can actually probably find him on. You're commenting a lot on a lot of articles I've seen around in the media, so you'll probably catch up with Patrick's comments in articles on Ultrabooks. Anyway, thanks, Patrick, and I really hope to catch up with you again soon. Maybe you'll be hanging around IDF again in September. Computex, great. I'm hoping to be there. There's one or two.
Yeah, I'm about 80% there. But hey, I really appreciate you having me on the show, and hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, Patrick. Have a good day. See ya.
Bye bye.
Excellent. Thanks, Patrick, for your time. And seriously, we could talk about for another hour. I know Patrick is deeply passionate about these new segments, and he has a lot of expertise right down to the base level. And we could talk about GPUs and CPUs and hinges for hours on end. But we'll call that a day for Patrick, and I'll stop that recording for YouTube. So thanks for watching part 1. Part 2, we're going to go into now an overview comparison of the 4 Ultrabooks we got here on the desk. Yeah, catch up with that on YouTube. Thanks for watching.